Are you here to live up to mine? Yeah. All that part. Obligation. Thing is fine, fine. I am that I am. I am. I am. I am. I like that part because I get deep on it. I am that I am. I am. I am. I am. I have a jacket on. Hold on. I gotta take this off. I'm gonna start that over. All right. Get focused. Get focused. Get focused. I'm early though. So. I am. I am. I am. Just be. Just be. Don't be what somebody else wants you to be. I am. Hang on. Hang on. In the background, I'm listening to Peter Tosh over here. Because Peter Tosh was the, looking up, Bob Marley and how they killed him. They killed Peter Tosh right after him because he was one of the ones that done figured it out. Hang on, let me change. How these buttons I gotta press? And so I remember I used to listen to Peter Tosh a long time ago, and he talked a lot of the whole greater sensing of self and not falling into tribalism. I want to talk tribalism today. I got some points, some talking points, but they're not for me. They're not for votes, and they're not for parties. Y'all, butt sniffing ends the world. Butt sniffing. Does anybody know why dogs sniff each other's butts? Does anybody know? All right, well, I'm listening in the background. I got my jacket on. Because when you got your jacket on, people think you got something important to say. People in jackets are saving the world. Business jackets. They're not destroying the world. It's like patience is what Peter Tosh is saying. Neither are you here to live up to mine. Yeah. Something about obligation. Ain't no obligations. I'm listening to the song. Everything ain't fine. I am that I am. I am. I am. All right, I like that part because I can go deep. It says, I am that I am. I am. I am that I am. That's all you are. That's all you are. That's all you are. And you are not here to live up to my obligations. I gotta take my jacket off because it's hot. If I don't wear a jacket in the beginning, people don't join. Because people in business jackets are doing good things. They're smarter than we are. We got a lot of malware. And that's where I want to go with it. We got a lot of malware, and identity is malware. I'm trying to tell you, sniffing dog butts ends the world. Those of us who can't evolve out of sniffing dog butts. Good morning, everybody. When you greet people, you engage in the proverbial sniffing of a butt cheek to identify who you about to talk to, so your mind can make decisions about who you're dealing with, what they at the park doing, what they eating. Are you friends? Are you in the same tribe? Do you belong to the same race? Are you in the same political party? And then your mind decides if that person is a good person based on all that butt sniffing, sensing, racial designation. Religion too, and nation and all that stuff. But people who can't evolve out of sniffing butts, they end the world. They end the world because that's how they break people up, get people arguing, fussing, and fighting. And that's how you determine what's true and false, depending on how somebody's butt smells. All right, I can take this jacket off. It's hot. I'm sorry. I really don't care if they join. And listen, if you can't process yet that we are here to talk about truthful things, that the world is coming to an end, but the world never really ends. Every generation thinks it's an end, but we got ending work to do to prevent regional ends. If not, somebody always makes it. The world never really ends. It's just the fear of it. The fear of it. So you can deny Iran weather, right? You can deny Iran's in a 50-year drought. Does anybody think it's a coincidence that Iran's 50-year drought is coincidental that 58 years ago, LBJ told you that we have cloud satellites now that can change cloud cover, and now Iran, which the Federal Reserve hates and central banking hates and the Rothschild nations hates and the Western nations hates because they're trying to deny everybody freedom, but they haven't invaded anybody in 200 years. Now climate change hates Iran too. Is anybody Does anybody think somebody's supposed to be mad? I ain't seen the mad face. Does anybody think that that's coincidence, that climate change does not like Iran, Afghanistan, and they're like locked into a drought? Butt sniffing ends the world. Butt sniffing ends the world. Butt sniffing ends the world. It's tribalism, if you don't understand that, where it came from. We can't seem to get out of it. This is why I say 98% monkey all day long. 98% monkey, 98% monkey. I don't take anything too seriously. I say, let's try to do the right thing and stop sniffing each other's butts. It doesn't really matter what they ate for lunch. It doesn't matter what tribe they're from, right? Because I don't know, why do people try? There they go. Here come the identity people. Identity people over here. All right, here we go. Everybody invite your identity people. Let's invite the blacks and the whites and the, and the Asians and the Latins and the Americans and the Canadians and the Britons and the Christians and the Muslims. Invite all the identity people, the butt sniffers. Those who sniffeth thy butt cheeketh to determine thy allyshipeth. I'm sorry. I don't know. I just laugh at identities. I ain't scared. I don't need an identity. Y'all can have all the identities you want. Keep adding to them. Keep adding to the collection. How many genders are there now? Something like 34, something specifically, not 35, 33. And everybody join in the groups and nah, I'm not interested in sniffing your butt. I'm a little evolved out of that. I really don't care about that. I'm trying to sense everybody. You sense, like, who are you? Good person, bad person, how can I help you? Not how can I fight you if you're in my tribe or you're in my pack? What does your anus smell like? What kind of musk do you have? No, I'm not interested. I think butt sniffing ends the world, divide and conquer. Everybody knows this, but yet they still do it. They're still doing it. I know. People like they because they'll agree with you too, right? They're like, yeah, we need to be all sensing. We need consciousness. We need a conscious party. I am that I am, that I am, that I am, that I am. And then they proceed to tell you what they are. They tell you their identity, and it's just like, oh, this isn't gonna go well. It is not gonna go. Nah, Lori, I ain't scared. I'm not a coward. I don't need to be in a group. I don't need to be in none of y'all groups. All y'all groups can go to anus hell. Because that's where you're going. That's where you're going. The whole planet going to hell in a handbasket. Anybody got that link? I was asking this morning. I listened to Brother Dane Wiggum because, you know, he ain't allowed on Facebook. Ain't no geoengineering anything on Facebook because it's a weapon. It's a classified weather weapon. Climate change has been weaponized. They're literally using technology to change the climate. JFK told you that, and LBJ told you that in the speeches, and they're wiping it from the internet. You can only find it in one place that I know of, and I shared the place, so it may not still be there. Only one place can you find their speeches consolidated. You really can't find them anywhere else because they're wiping the internet. They're wiping Google. Why? Because of the identity butt sniffers, right? Because the people are still in these groups. They're still playing identity games. They're dividing them up and they're conquering them. Identity is malware, people. Malware. Identity is malware. No, it's not a good thing. Don't make it try to sound intellectual. Don't do that. Don't do that. We know where this came from. Back when we were wolves and marsupials and the 98% party, you're not the 2%, the 98% party. That's how you determine who was in your tribe. See, now you look at somebody and you think it's intellectual that you can look at somebody and you make these assessments as to who they are by their skin color and what they wear and how they dress, the type of car they drive, the house they have. You ever actually meet somebody and ask you, what do you do for a living? That's a butt sniff. That's what it is. It is, if you really think about it. They're trying to identify you. They're trying to determine how to deal with you based on the malware identity encoding they got as a baby, right? Because what is the mind? The mind is a construct of all the inputs that we take in, that we've taken in, all the malware that somebody else put in us because they loved us. No, seriously, real talk. They put it in you because they love you because they're part of the Christians. They think the Christians got something to do with Christ, which they absolutely don't. I told somebody the other day, they got upset. I said, I'm not a Christian. They're like, well, we need to pray for you. No, actually you don't. I'm a follower? Nah, wrong word. Christ is a teacher of mine. There you go. This is where I'm gonna put it. Christ is a teacher of mine. He said a lot of wise things. I study the Gospels. I want to be Christ-like as much as possible. He is a teacher of mine, but I ain't a Christian. I ain't a Christian because they don't give two damns about Christ. That's just the reality. Christ never said go off and create a group called Christians. So Christ is one of my teachers, is not one of my identities. He is a teacher. And he taught some amazingly powerful things like love each other, take care of everybody, feed the hookers, feed the thieves, look out for people, accept that it is a human experience we're going through, and don't judge people for being human, okay? That's what you need to do. But as far as the identity and coding the malware, I don't take it in. I don't take it in. It's like, because we like the apps. This is why people still do the malware stuff with identities. They like the apps, right? You install that app, you get that app, and you like what it does. It functions on your laptop, does something. But then you get the malware with it. You get that identity coding that you're black or you're white or you're American or whatever subhuman grouping that they put you in. But you find pride in it. It gives you security and safety, right? And so you run with it. But the problem is how the human brain works is now all the decisions you're making are being made subconsciously, right? Based in the perspective of the malware your mommy and daddy or somebody else who loved you but didn't understand how all this works put in you. But they did it because they were scared too, because the people before them were scared, and everybody breeds this fear and victimism, and that's why the dogs got packs and the monkeys got troops and the cattle got herds. And I'm saying maybe because we're a conscious creature that is designed consciously, I think everything's conscious, but we're designed to be conscious, that maybe, perhaps, we shouldn't play games like we're wild animals, right? Because the whole point of identity, sensing, butt sniffing was for fear. Fear, because you were a wild beast on a wild planet, and you need to find other wild animals to group up with for safety and security. And I think we should be beyond that. I think in, what's today's date? 10/8/2019, if you're on this side of the planet. I think we should have evolved out of this. We should have evolved out of sniff each other's butts. You know, when you say good morning to people and you start judging them, right? But how this works. Okay, so here's an example. I was thinking about this morning. Anybody ever seen numbers? This is gonna go to crazy town a little bit for people who don't read, but that's okay. We love you anyway. You ever seen numbers? Like, because I thought it was weird when people post numbers and other people who see that number post a number and they all agree on something, whatever. And I'm trying to figure out, where does this number come from? Like, I see a certain number in my head. I ain't gonna tell you what it is because it ain't your business, number one. You can get, use that number to try to control me, to get me to do something. That's like, why do I keep seeing this number? Like anytime you drive in a car, it's on your dashboard. Anytime you look at your phone, it's right there. Anytime somebody posts to see Stacy being funny already, you see a number. Don't post a number, Stacy, because then people gonna lie and say they see the number too, and then, you know, because they want to get in your drawers or something. Don't do that. But I always question what that is. So I went through a lot of crazy thoughts. You know me, I take in all theories. I'm good with all theories. I don't question nothing. Because I don't know anything. 98% monkey, and most of the people who are popular are still in their wild mindsets. Why do we see these numbers? I don't know. I was thinking, maybe it's me in another dimension. I like string theory. I like quantum physics. Maybe it's me in another dimension. Like, hey, be careful of that person that got that number. You know, or you're supposed to be close to the person that got that number. And I don't know. It's like, maybe it's me in the future sending numbers back. Maybe it's humans in the future. Maybe it's just my subconscious. Maybe because we all live in a matrix inside our own heads, right? Like your eyes see things and your brain determines what it wants to tell you. Like, think about that for a minute. Your eyes see something and your mind determines what it wants to share with you. Why is somebody calling me? Oh, that's my mama. Mama, I love you, but I can't talk to you right now, mama. We try to say the word. Okay. Love you. Right. So your mind is only telling you what is pertinent to survival, right? Your subconscious takes in everything. Your conscious does not. Your subconscious is purely a database. It takes in everything. This is why when you're sitting in the movies and somebody jumps out and says, "Ah!" you get scared and jump, because your subconscious mind gives you that reaction. Your conscious mind knows you're sitting in a movie and you're eating some popcorn, but your subconscious mind thinks this is a real event, right? So your subconscious is taking everything in. It doesn't know what Hollywood is. It doesn't know what entertainment is. And so it's taking all of this in, and it's making decisions based in that. So however your mind is designed to work, whatever malware is running in it, from whatever apps you put in there because you like the apps and you didn't use Norton or McAfee or ICE or some antivirus to get that identity out of there. Your subconscious is making decisions based on how it was encoded from when you were a child. That's where I think those numbers come from. That's where I think the numbers come from. It's like this. It's like we know the only things that our mind tells us are things that absorb light for survival. There are other things out there. There are other waves. None of this is real. All this is wave energy. But our mind for survival only shares with us the things that are pertinent to survival. Things that don't attract light are not pertinent to survival. Think about that for a minute. Think about that for a minute. So you live in a matrix and you have a thing called a mind and it's making decisions for you. Like 98% of your decisions all day long are decided by your subconscious mind. And it's determining what you need to see and what you don't need to see, what you need to know and what you don't need to know. And that's where I think that number comes from. So when I see that number, it's not that number is coming to me from the future Gerard, like, hey, Gerard, you pay attention to this dummy from another dimension. It might just simply be my subconscious mind thinks that number is important because a long time ago, that number went in and it was a time of importance. My conscious mind has no idea about it, but when my subconscious mind, when I'm like just going through a field of view right now, like I'm looking at a screen, I'm looking at my dumb, silly self and the dog sniffing for the identity to figure out what race he is, what nation, what religion, and how much money he makes and what job industry he works in. But my subconscious mind, it sees the time right there. It sees a time over here. It sees a number. And if it sees that number, it's determining whether it wants to share with me or not. It shares it with me. I look down, I see the number that is significant. And so it's sharing it with me. Right? Like these are things I think that are critical. Uh-oh, what's happening? What's happening? I just seen stuff beeping and blipping and something going on. Something going on. Uh-oh. YouTube is up, Facebook like it's acting funny. So I'm getting deep into a thought and then just messed it up. Hopefully it comes back. Although it's weird because I still see people commenting over here and coming in, but I don't see nothing happening here. But I think that's where that's coming from. Possibly. But you got to be very careful of the software that you're running. Because identity is software, but I think it's more malware than anything. Because now you have a whole life based in a mind that was encoded to be that thing, that identity. And so the perspective your subconscious is taking is always about that perspective, which is highly dangerous. And so when you watch the news, you key on things that are related to that malware identity. When somebody's talking, you key on the things and your intellect actually is in defense of this identity thing that you think you are. Every time you meet someone, you want to smell their butts. And I think this is critical to understanding what consciousness is, how to achieve it if you have it and if you don't. When you run your antivirus, your anti-malware software that you're getting all of it out, it's hard to get it all out because you have a whole mind that's based on it. Let me show you a picture. Let me show you another picture. See, and so you got people who are like kind of sort of interested in that wild thing of identity, but then you got the people really interested. They're like, oh, boy, we got to find out. They get the whole nose up in there. You got to smell the whole colon. Right? Are you pure? I'm not sure if you're African American. You got blue eyes and a little weird hair. I detect some misogyny. You don't look like you're a part of the master race. Prove to me that you did this for a living. What is on your resume? Can you answer this question? You ever go to a dinner party and people start asking you these questions, trying to bring you into this butt-sniffing identity nonsense? But identification, unfortunately, it's what we evolved in wild times. And I think a lot of what I'm saying is, you're not a wild beast. Why do you still have wild activity? Why do you still have nuances of the wild? You're not in the wild anymore. You're in the civilized times. You don't need to use identity for survival anymore. You don't need to do that. They use that to control you. Right? Those are the strings they attach to you. That's why I think butt sensing ends the world. Because you're so worried about somebody's butt scent and who they are and where they come from if they're a part of your group. You're not looking around and paying attention. You're not paying attention to the bigger topics, the real problems in the world, the things that not just your little pack has got to worry about, but everybody on the damn planet's got to worry about it. You know, from shifting weathers to this aluminum. I was watching Dane Wigington. You know what? I posted something. I want to see what kind of comments I get from it. But I was watching Dane. Dane's not allowed on Facebook. He's not allowed anywhere. Why? Because he talks about weather weapons and they're classified. So because he talks about those things, he's not allowed to be on social networking platforms. For the most part, I think he's still on YouTube. There's a YouTube video I was watching. Because he talks about real talk. He gets real doctors on there who are questioning the narrative. They're questioning their paychecks. They're questioning things from a methodical perspective. They're doing root cause analysis. And they were saying something this morning I was listening to. He had the doctor on questioning glyphosate. Well, if you're in the oligarchy and you believe in butt sensing and this identity that when sniff your butt, you're a Democrat, but you smell like a Republican and not involved in that little nonsense of a game. You pay attention to things that matter. And so the glyphosate, right? They say glyphosate is a substance that has other compounds in it that binds to aluminum that allows the aluminum to pass through the blood-brain barrier. I don't know what the hell none of that means. It don't sound good. None of it sound good. Don't sound good. That's why I got doctors around and people who can explain that. Post links, and the links are starting to disappear, which is why I asked the question this morning, what's your favorite research or data or topic that's being wiped from the internet, it's being wiped from Google, it's being wiped from social media because it's not allowed to be talked about. Autism. They say by 2036, that every boy born, I think it's in America or the West, is going to be on the autism spectrum. All the doctors agree it's environmental. Most of the ones I've heard give talks that it's environmental. And so we know that this is something that's coming from the oligarchy. We know autism is caused by the oligarchy. It's caused by the lack of regulation from the EPA, the FDA, UK's, the MDA. All these regulatory agencies have completely failed, right? Because all kids are pissing out glyphosate. So if they're all pissing out glyphosate, they all got glyphosate in them. Aluminum's everywhere, whether it's coming out the back of the airplanes or whatever, I don't know. So that more and more, this glyphosate is taking heavy metals or metal dust, whatever it is, into the brain, causing all kind of problems. Magically, we got autism. Magically, everybody has Alzheimer's. You know, a pharmaceutical Pfizer corporation almost solves the problem with Alzheimer's, and then they quiet it up. They get quiet about it. The judge seals the record. So for 10 years, no research is made into Alzheimer's. I think it's important to consider the fact that the kings and lords are always up to something, right? And while everybody's out here sniffing everybody's butts to find out who's white, black, yellow, green, Democrat, Republican, whatever, the kings and lords are getting away with holy murder because they're an oligarchy. And what they're doing is making profit. See, I think, and it's I'm gonna throw it, it sounds like a conspiracy theory, but it's just profit. If you can give every male child autism by 2036, and you can give Alzheimer's to every aging adult who gets over the age of 60, where they're actually starting to figure out how this matrix stuff works. They're starting to really figure out that identity is an aspect of a wild beast that we're carrying forward. They start to figure that out, but if you can alter their brain function in a way, you can dominate the world. You can dominate all kinds of things. You take out all the old folks and you take out all the young folks, and who's left? Mom. And mom's got to care for all the autistic boys and the old folks. I don't know. I'm just going to throw that out there. But I think this butt sensing pride ends the world. Yes, I did call it butt sensing pride. I don't care if that gets me in trouble. It is butt sensing. You want to know somebody's race? It's butt sensing. We were kids, used to fill out the forms. What race are you? You had to fill out the form. But it was their attempt to butt sniff you. They wanted to butt sniff so they can figure out how to allocate resources or whatever they're doing to give them to one community to piss the other community off. Everybody's being played against each other. That's how it all works. Anyway, good morning. Are we okay on Facebook? I seen some things just going doing some funny stuff. Let me see. DuckDuckGo is good for you. And get on it with Brave browser. Well, you know what, Sarah? I'm not gonna tell you what I use because people try to hack into your stuff. I'm not gonna tell you what I use. I do know this. is that you install apps, you get malware that comes along with it. We like the apps, and the malware, it runs in the background. We don't know anything about it, like identity. It's making decisions for you in your subconscious. It's giving you a perspective that other people think is nuts, but you think is real because your subconscious is handing to you, because the only thing that's pertinent to your survival is whether or not the other dog is in your pack, whether or not the other monkey's in your troop. And it's giving you information, just how the subconscious only hands you certain numbers, because it thinks it's pertinent information and it's holding the rest back from you. We need to run antivirus software. Whatever browser you have, you need to run antivirus software, anti-malware software, and you need to get rid of your identities. You need to clean it up so your mind actually functions for more than just survival and acting like a wild creature in a pack. You see what I'm saying? Is anybody picking up what I'm putting down? That's what I'm trying to say. All right. I say that I'm Christ-like, and that's Stacy, and that's a good thing, right? Why? Because Christ was a good person. He's good people. No matter what people say, well, Christ doesn't exist. All right, well, I don't know if this discussion's for you. You know, the guy who loved everyone, who didn't fit here, who took care of everyone, yeah, he did exist. And he did phenomenal things, and he changed the world. Now, the people who came after him and used his name blew up the world and colonized and crusaded and did all the things against him, which is why I said I got that I'm affiliated with the Christians because we're all humans and whatever, but I don't see them being Christ-like. So I observe, but I pay attention to Sadhguru too. I pay attention to things that come out of Buddhism and Hinduism. Things that make sense, I run with. Things that don't make sense, I throw out. Things that can move us forward, I want to run with, right? So I'm not in the identity, right? I don't need to be in their identity. I don't need to group up with anybody because I'm not scared of anything. So I asked so that's a good question. So I asked, so what is your favorite research or topic? Some data that's disappearing from the internet that you can't send a link for because we're in a matrix and we got controlled narratives, and some people already started answering, the France Saturday protest, and I agree with that. Jennifer posted, right? So in France, you don't see anything about the yellow vesting. That's Brother Jonathan. Brother Jonathan's in the house. You don't see much about the yellow vest anymore. Why? Because it's a group of people who stood up to their government. They don't want you standing up to your government. They want your nostrils planted deep within somebody else's anus to determine out if they're right or wrong. That's how it works. That's how identity works. Let me see. A few years ago, there were a lot of videos of Big Mike Obama, and now they're gone. Big Mike Obama, huh? All right, Kelly, I'm sorry, I'm confused. I don't know who Big Mike is. I know who Killer Mike is, and now they're gone. Oh, you mean Barack had videos before he was president? Oh yeah, you mean what was like smoking weed? Yeah, you know what? I have to be honest with you. Obama said some great stuff before he was a president, but once he got in the oligarchy, the colonize and kill it group, he went and lost his damn mind. But I think that's how it works. But the same thing, they all say great things, but once you put them up there, they jack them up. You're right about that. I haven't seen any of the pre-colonizer Barack videos. I don't see them anymore. Why? Because people, they don't want to show the contradiction. I think they weren't ready for this internet thing, and y'all like to put together these collage videos where the leaders argue against themselves. Y'all remember that one? Who was it? Was it Bush? It was Bush. Somebody was flip-flopping. They kept making different decisions. They kept changing their platform. I think they did to Hillary too, and she would debate herself because they would play a video from her 10 years ago debating her today, and it was hilarious just watching them jump back and forth on topics. But then you make your leaders look ridiculous when they do that. So yeah, I agree with you. They certainly wipe those videos from the internet because they want to hide it. Geoengineering's wiped from you. You can't even get it on Facebook. A lot of speeches, well, certainly JFK speeches, are disappearing. You can't even post them without getting a strike. Because they're trying to limit people's access to information. That's how they control people. Christine says she doesn't know. She don't even know the things that she used to think about and post about because she says she forgot them herself. And that's kind of how it works. It's like a full spectrum attack. You got stuff coming at you from everywhere, whether it's chemtrails and poison food and geoengineering and aluminum and autism and Alzheimer's and JFK and secret societies and Illuminati and aliens and free energy. And you just got all this, and then I think they want to overwhelm you. Then you can't remember everything. All you do, but you know what, Christine, on that, I just always remember that I don't support the system. And sometimes you don't have a link because it's gone. You know, you don't remember the data because they got rid of the research. They don't want to archaeology. They don't want to show the parts, the out of place artifacts to prove we aren't who we say we are, and they're lining the events there. His story is a lie. But I just remember, I don't trust the kings and lords. I don't trust the kings and lords. I don't trust them. I never trusted the kings and lords, and I'm not going to now. Now, I believed in the system, and I used to vote for the kings and lords, but I don't now. I don't now. The long term, nobody knows the long term effects of giving an oligarchy called America ultimate limitless power, because you've got groups within your nation sniffing each other's anus instead of growing the hell up, acting mature, and doing the right things for the next generation. But they sniff each other's anuses and they determine from cowardly means who to group up with and not actually fight anything significant, but fight with the power. No one knows the long-term benefits of giving 100 families ultimate power in owning a nation that has the biggest military in the world and the most devastating technology that none of us even know about. If you watch America, you're gonna find out. Because they're still sniffing each other's anuses. They're still in that wild monkeyism. You know, you cannot be proud of an identity. I watch people all the time. They make excuses like, yeah, well, you can be proud of who you are and not be mad at somebody else or look down on someone else. The very basis of identity is no longer sensing another group. It's apathy to another group. It's indifference to another group. That's why you group up with that group. You do it in fear, and you prioritize your group. And whether you know it or not, your mind, your consciousness will make decisions the rest of your life. Your brain and neurons, the way it sets up and develops, everything is going to be centric to that identity. All your anger, your fear, your aggression, the things that you focus on, the things that you don't focus on, the things your subconscious mind shows you and the things that don't, are all going to be based from that perspective, which is prejudice. It is the epitome of racism. You can't have a race without racism. The fact that you are a race means that you are racist. Why? Because your subconscious at that moment is racist, and it will be the rest of your life. Same with the racist AI. Y'all remember the racist police AI that showed us our own racism? Once you put all the data in the system, it started making racist decisions and sending cops to areas that were of certain races. Had nothing to do with the races, had to do with socioeconomics, but it showed you how your subconscious mind works. Y'all remember that? Post the city, somebody. It's a difficult thing to accept, but it's real. And if you can't walk away from it, then you got fears that you need to address. But you have to approach consciousness, and you got to try to sense all. And stop, let me get this doggy all up in somebody else's butt cheeks. Get rid of that. You know, we got to stop living in our survival 5 senses, and we need to go beyond that. We need to go beyond that. Programming the mind is what it is. Exactly, Andrew, they're programming the mind. And we got to stop being programmed. We got to stop taking in the malware and the software of trying to create a creature out of us and go live your own life. It's like retirement. You know why people don't want to retire? Because their mind is just so developed and constructed for enslavement and labor for these systems and currencies and GDPs. They have no idea how to stop. It's like muscle memory. They've been serving their entire life. They've been slaving their entire life, and they don't know who they are. Even if they can remember who they were prior to all the malware and coding for controlling them. All right, let me do some comments and we'll take a peek at these. That's what I think. I'm thinking butt sensing is the world. I'm thinking identity is malware, and I think we need to get out of it. I think we need to let it go, or this world is going to come to an abrupt stop. Now, the world will be fine, and we'll come back. Some of us always makes it, and we can have theories as to why. But this is how we're controlled. This is how you're enslaved. They give you pride in your identity, and it's not your identity. It's something they created to control you, and through fear from evolved survival skills, you embrace it. And to me, it's not an intellectual thing. If your intellect is being controlled by your mind and it's subconscious, and you've got malware programming running in there for these religions and races and nations and patriot and all this stuff, then you're not actually being yourself. You're a robot, you're a clone, and somebody's controlling you. It is that mind washing, Angela, like you said, it's brainwashing. All right, now, we can only exist consciously by measuring. Explain that to me, Nora. What do you mean by that? I was having issues on Twitter. Okay, with Twitter. Oh, I don't think I am on Twitter. I don't. Yeah, I think it posts that when I go live. I don't think my videos post to Twitter though. I've stirred a hive this morning. They're on me. All right, Stacy. Yeah, don't stir the bee. Don't stir up the bee's nest. You don't have to worry about the bees, but they're pollinators. Let your grass grow because they actually break down food costs. Let me see. I know a white guy that lies on his resume about college, makes $300K a year in IT. Yes, this is true, Stacy. I know a black guy who lied about working who lied about working for a nuclear regulatory agency, lied about having his degree. He didn't really have it, and I've watched him get jobs my whole life. And I think he's on my Facebook page. I'm not gonna mention no names, but I watched it, right? But this is real. Why? Because now if you can fake an identity, ooh, that reminds me of a picture, Stacy. If you can fake an identity, oh my goodness, if you can be a fake friend, if you can have a fake identity, let me see if I can pull this up. This fits right in line with the conversation. There was a dog over here who didn't know he was sniffing a dog. It was a statue of a dog. Nope. All right, I can't find it. Oh, you know what? That was on the other. These are all dogs checking identity, by the way. These are all dogs doing their identity. Oh, there you go. There's one right here. Here's a fake identity right here. Here's someone faking their identity. And the dog doesn't know any better. He's doing the interview. I'm sorry, but in that example, it fits. He's doing an interview, trying to figure out whether or not I want to hire you, whether or not we're friend or foe, whether or not we'll work together, whether or not I'll pull you into my pack called a corporation to go off and rob other corporations of resources. It's just survival stuff. We are locked into. Oh my goodness, what the hell is that? That's in my butt cheeks. Oh, the dog is sniffing. Ooh, whoa, my head was in the right spot. They're gonna say, you're explicit. No, I'm trying to give examples. Don't sniff each other's butts. It's not a way to make a living. It's not a way to get votes. That's how you end the world. But yeah, men, people are gonna fake it, Stacy, because if they can fake it, then they can make it. They say you gotta fake it till you make it. Let me see. What do you do? I always respond, what do you mean? Yes, Nora, because that's the question. So what do you do? What do you mean by what? Because why do people ask that question, Nora? Because they're trying to identify you, and they're trying to classify you, determine how they're going to treat you, what they're going to do for you. And usually people answer with the slave answer. They'll answer with what they're told to do. It's like if you ask a slave what they do, they say, oh, I work with massa, I pick the cotton, I run the cotton gin, I do this, I'm a coal miner, I dig, I do this. And it's like they answer with the slave answer. What do you do? I live. I live the best I can, as free as I can, but I'm on a slave plantation. And but it's so embedded, Nora, that I never saw that. And I think it's hard to actually see that. Identification is indeed the distraction. After all, we are all sisters and brothers, and that's the only thing we need to know. And that's it, Christine. We're all sisters and brothers, and they don't want anyone to know that. They don't want to realize that you're bombing your family, you're starving your family, you're robbing your family, you're getting a better job from your family member, because they don't want people to share. If you can convince billions and millions of people to not share, then then you can treat your family any way you want, because you don't know their family. See, there you go. They add that. See, the dog faking identity right there. The dog thinks that's added. He's trying to check his identity. Who are you? What did you eat for lunch? And are you going to share with me? All right, most of us still act like the animals we came from. Maybe we aren't as far removed from them as we think we are. Exactly, John, and that's what I'm saying. Exactly. There are survival characteristics that we have, and this system abuses in us that we don't even know are there. If you said this stuff to me, John, like 10 years ago, I'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm free. I'm a free man. America's a free country. I'm living free. What you mean? You hate me for my freedom, John? Why you hate me for my freedom, John? But in reality, we have a lot of survival things that are going on that we don't see. And they use that against us. That's why we do have to look back at the wild kingdom and where we came from to determine, Like what? Yeah, not like to determine where we're going. Like that saying is, if you don't know your past, you don't know your future. If you don't know your past, and you don't know why you have the nuances you do, why you like to group up with other people for fear to get in a pack and control others, then you're going to be abused. You're not. Someone else is going to drive your future. Absolutely, absolutely. And I said white because I want to point out that white people something. All right, Lori. Well, you know, some white people, the 1%. Well, so that's an interesting thing, Stacey. And I don't know if we're going in the same place. I think we are. It's the psychopath, right? Now, how we talk about people are always trying to blame a race of people, right? Because if you can put people in groups, then you can do designations based on that group, which means that if you got one psychopathic dog that's going around, psychopathic wolf that's going around murdering people from other packs, you can say that pack causes the problem and everybody turns on that pack. But in reality, it's just the 1%. Right? Because the psychopaths always hide within the groups. They come in all packs. They come in brindle. They come in black, white, polka dot stripe. They come in German Shepherd. They come in Pit Bull. They come in Chihuahua. In fact, no, they ain't come in Chihuahua. All Chihuahuas are psychopaths. Everybody please know this. All Chihuahuas are psychopaths. Not the Pit Bulls. The Pit Bulls were made that way, right? We mind controlled them. We gave them an identity of chasing rats and rice stills to keep us alive. But the Chihuahuas, they're all psychopaths. But they hide. But the way that works out, Stacey, which is what you're saying, is you can get all the people, all the dogs, because only cattle and animals, wild animals are packable, will turn on the complete other pack and try to give it pack guilt. They'll start talking about pack privilege. And meanwhile, you got people, you got dogs, puppies, in the other pack that are starving, that are being raised in trailer parks. And they'll take offense to that when you start talking about pack privilege. As they should, because they never saw the pack privilege that you're talking about. They're just one psychopath at the top of the 1% of the pack that got everything. But now you're pitted against them and them against you, and this is how you lose. Because you made a whole struggle and movement on sniffing somebody else's butt cheeks. What pack are you? I don't like you because you're that pack. I don't like you because that pack has power over me. And meanwhile, it's just the 1%. All right, that's how it works. And you got the 1% psychopathic in the other pack, and they want to be in control too. And that's why they get that pack to go after the entire other pack, because they don't believe in non-psychopathy. They believe that they want to run things. They want to run their pack. They want to enslave their pack. You know, and if you're picking up what I'm putting down, you understand the depth in that. Right? Because if you're attacking a whole pack of other people, you don't have a movement. You're not moving anything. All you're doing is swapping the psychopath in control. When old people forget, we lose all that wisdom experience. Right, Susan? Because old people are our libraries. They're our elders. They're our wise. They're the people we should be listening to. They're the people who, I think everybody has something to teach you. Everybody has something to teach you, and that's why you shouldn't sniff anybody's anuses. Everybody has something to teach you. You sniff their anus, you're going to determine whether or not you want to know what they know or not. You need to know everything they know. But there are elders, right? They've experienced a little more. The people who teach me most tend to be older, right? Kids teach me things too, but usually it's the people who have the most experience on this planet. That's why you got to respect your elders. They've just been here longer. They have a lot more data. Now, do they have more indoctrination? A lot of them, yes. But they have experiences, right? You're not listening to them, and they're not a teacher because they control you, right? I listen to Sadhguru, I listen to Jesus Christ, I listen to Siddhartha, I listen to a lot of things. I listen to Dane Wigington. These are teachers. They know things I don't know. Doesn't mean I agree with them on everything. Hell no. I listen to Noam Chomsky, but he's a gatekeeper. He's right about 98% of the things I've ever heard. 2% he's wrong, which is the Federal Reserve, right? So, but everybody's a teacher, but it tends to be the older they are, right, Susan? The more they have to teach because the more they've seen. And you can take that data in and make decisions based on that. But if you can give them autism in an old age, Alzheimer's disease in an old age, then we lose that wisdom. That's why I tell everybody they need to have centurions as friends and stop sniffing each other's butts. Everybody has something to teach. They sniff butt, Susan, on the way to work. I watch people stepping over homeless people on the way to work, and homeless people got a lot of things to do. They witness a lot of things. They're a sensor in this organism we call humanity that are sensing things. They're sitting on the street all day long watching people. Now, mind you, They say after what, 3 months on the street, mental illness sets in. After 3 months on the street, watching people going to work, mental illness is supposed to set in. I'm sorry, that's how it works. Mental illness of watching people all day long, 24 hours out the day, 7 days, watching people go to work in business suits and carrying briefcases and laptops. You're supposed to go mentally ill. It's going to make you, because those people are mentally ill. I'm sorry, we are a mental ill apocalypse. We're in a forced labor camp, and they think they're better because they got a suit and a faster car and a bigger house. It'll make you go ill. So after a while, yeah, homeless people, they get a little, a little loopy. They're supposed to. They watch us. They're supposed to. We're nuts. We're insane. We keep this forced labor-based enslavement system, and we're sniffing each other's butts. They should go insane. But even they got something to teach. They see things. They're sensors. They're out there all day taking in data in the craziness of our world. Zionism, right, Lori? Zionism. They're like, you know what? I used to go out there to sites and I got some sort of malware on my machine because I clicked on a site that was talking about Zionism. My screen went blank. Lori's like, I was like, what the hell? Static. But when that happened, it made me realize that there's something there that's important that they didn't want me to see. So of course I closed my browser out and I wiped I ran my antivirus to get rid of the malware. But if it's something that they don't want me to see, then it means there's something factual. And that's what censorship is. And that's how you know what to follow or what to read. The things that they don't want you to read. Those are the things that are going to be factual. It's not about fighting fake news. You don't have to fight fake news. You don't censor fake news. If somebody's out there yelling and screaming about flat earth, did y'all bring the flat earthers here? All right, I love y'all. I do. I don't agree, but I love y'all. And I agree NASA lies about a lot. But the whole flat earth thing, right? If they were censoring it, then it tells me that there's something to it, right? NASA does lie all the damn time. Unfortunately, there's a whole lot out there they're not sharing with us. But I don't agree with flat earth. Doesn't mean flat earth is true, but they censor it. Because the basis of what they're talking about, there is some truth in the fact that our government's lying to us about space and everything. They lie to us about what's on the other continents. They lie to us about weather weapons. They lie to us about the stealth fight. They lie to us about anything that they can weaponize. Anything that they can weaponize and turn us into each other, sniff each other's butts, they'll always do. But what they censor is what you have to look into the most, right? That's what's important. What's on the news is not important. What they're not putting on the news, that's what you want to pay attention to. What is that saying? You know who controls the world. You know where the real power is, because that's who you cannot something. Somebody post a quote, because I didn't forget. I need more coffee. Whoever was it? Those you can't. Y'all slow this morning? Come on, I know your brains are working. Those you can't chastise or criticize. Those are the ones who have the real power. You can sit here and talk about white people all day. You can sit here and talk about black people all day. You can sit here and talk about Vietnamese all day. You can sit here and talk about Democrats all day. You can sit here and talk about Republicans all day. You can use all your butt sniffing ideas. You can talk about all these people all day. You can chastise religion ruin the world and Christianity ruin the world and the Muslims ruin it. You can talk about that all day. They love you to death. They will never censor you. They don't care because you're fitting within your avatar within the matrix of this butt sniffing control system. But the minute you stop sniffing butts, that's when you die. You think that's insignificant? The minute Martin Luther King, the minute Malcolm X, the minute all of these guys get outside of their indoctrination isms, butt sniffing isms, and they stand up for everybody, it's the same thing with wiping the internet. That's why they wipe the internet. The people you can't chastise are the ones you need to chastise. The information you're not allowed to see, that's the only information you have to see. You can't have a government with secrets. We should have evolved out of this. This is all evolved monkeyism. That's why I call them 98% monkeys. And I'm 98. I'm with y'all. I mean, I'm 98% monkey too, and they abuse me, which is why we have no leaders. We have no leaders. Don't get, there's another right there. There's another identity person. That's why I say we have no leaders. You say, oh, well, you just go over there and you talk with your followers. Ain't nobody over here following me. You might follow me. I tell these people all the time, no, I'm gonna tell you what's true. Sometimes you like it, sometimes you don't. And when I say things are untrue, my friends check me. We don't need any more leaders anymore. You can't have leaders, you can't have power in a world that's struggling with the mental illnesses, the survival warrior genes from the past. You can't have leaders. You can't have anyone with any power over anybody else because they will abuse it. We're not evolved yet enough to have leaders. We have to get out of that. Right? Because if everybody's born with this mind thing and it's just looking for data and all the malware is being injected for identity to form how it will make decisions and who it'll ally with, who it'll hate, who it'll trust, who it won't, who it'll listen to, who can give it data, then the minute that that person gets power, they're going to use it for corruption. The very minute. Why? Because they view everything from the perspective of that identity. You can't have power over people on an evolving planet with an evolving species that's got his nose up somebody's anus all the daggone time. Right? You can't have that. You know, you can't have these things. These things have to go away. We got to grow up. We got to stop using our survival senses to make decisions. That's just nasty. I'm sorry. His nose about big as my head. I can put my head in his nose. Like, we're supposed to have a serious conversation and this guy's got his head in the dog's nose. But honestly, that's how ridiculous it is. This is where we are. We shouldn't be here. We shouldn't be here. Sometimes we have to fake to survive. Well, unfortunately, you're right, Nora, because we're all fakers in that way. You know, we all got bank accounts, we all got jobs. We can talk about money's got to go away all day long, and it does, because we haven't evolved enough for money. We haven't evolved enough for currency systems. Most people don't even know what a banking system is. They have no idea what debt is. They have no idea it's a whip that actually keeps you working, that slavery never went away. They just made it all inclusive. But sometimes you got to fake it to make it, and we're all fakers. We're all sellouts. You got a bank account, you're a sellout. You got money in your wallet, you're a sellout. Somebody you sold out, because money is a representation of human labor. We need to build a bigger world, a better world. You know, but it begins with being honest with ourselves and what we are and what we struggle with. These 5 senses. They identify, all right, it's going too fast. Never claim anything with I am, because when you do, now own it. Right, Carl, right, see? And this is the thing, I am, because I am what? That's why I like that Peter Tosh song, Carl. I am that I am, that I am, that I am. I don't even know what the hell I am. I'm like, didn't God say that, Carl? I said, Christ said God. Somebody said that. Somebody important said, I am that I am. God said that. I am that I am, because I don't know what I am. I have no idea. I mean, I could even say wave energy, but that's just the level of our understanding that we are wave energy. We're mostly wave and energy, not matter. There's almost no atomic matter in the human body. So I can say I am wave energy, but even when I say that, how do I know that? Right? We think we're wave energy because that's the lowest, that's the level that our technology can detect. You know, wave may not exist. Some people say we're vibration, right? But we use the technology of the time to determine our reality. And our reality, we don't have enough technology to actually determine what's real, right? And if we can't determine what's real yet, how can we make any decisions to be in conflict with anyone else? How can we put a leader in control over us? It makes no sense, right? Because first we discovered organs. We're like, oh yeah, this is the human body, there are organs. This is how it works. Then we discovered cells, like, nope, it's deeper than that. There are cells, and the microscope technology got better. There's atoms. Oh no, there's atoms. And we keep getting lower and lower and lower and making decisions on that level, you know, down to the atomic level and the quantum level. And we have no idea what's next. We have no idea. We're slaves to our technology. We can't continue to use technology for hubris. We know nothing, literally nothing. So yeah, I am that I am. I don't know what I am. And anytime you're going to try to tell me what I am, which to me is kind of offensive, I know that you're trying to control me. You know, my parents did that, but they did it because they loved me. They did it because they were raised in fear like everybody else. They were raised to group up with an identity for pack mentality. And we got to get out of pack mentality. You can't be in a group and not have groupthink. Right? The depth of these concepts, right? What a mind is and what consciousness is. If you are in a pack, if you have an identity, you are suffering from groupthink. You have a mental illness called groupthink. And the only way to get out of it is, I don't know how to get out of it, but I know the first steps are to stop embracing identity. Like Carl said, stop speaking into your reality, your enslavement. Stop speaking that you are this, I am that. Because your subconscious mind, you know what it's doing? It's just listening. It's like watching the movies. It really thinks that, you're in this scenario where some woman's being stabbed behind a curtain watching the movie Psycho, scary as hell. Every time your subconscious is just listening to you. Oh, I am black and I'm proud. Are you? I'm Irish and oh yeah, are you? Oh, I am this, I am that. And it keeps reinforcing the same malware, and that malware gets stronger and stronger and stronger. All right. Oh yeah, now the other thing about malware is you're trying to get rid of it. What do you use? You use antivirus software. Malware, how does it work? It works in identity. Right? They have a database. That's why it updates often. It pulls down all of the identities of the malware and it runs on your machine, and it looks for the actual name, the actual identity of a known malware. It even uses identity to get rid of identity. And then how do the hackers, the people who are hacking your mind, your leaders, how do they hide from the antivirus software? You're trying to have universal sensing and discover consciousness. They hide from, they change the name. There's malware that changes its name so the antivirus can't find it. And so the antivirus updated and upgraded again. This is from an IT stuff, just perspective. Just let me know if this is getting a little too geeky, but it fits with the real world, right? So they try to hide their identity. They change their name. They're not this race, they're this ethnicity. They're not, it's not ethnicity, it's really culture. And they just keep going with it, but they want to keep that identity, and so the antivirus software now looks for the footprint. It doesn't look for the name anymore. It realizes that they change the name of races to keep the identity going, to keep the power and control structure in place, to keep the matrix going, to keep this pack fighting that pack. The Monsantos, they like to change their name. They merge with Bayer. They're not Monsanto anymore. They're Bayer Pharmaceuticals. So, okay, it must be good to spray this on my plants now. Always hiding. This butt sniffing. Butt sniffing. Let's find some more butt sniffers. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the dog is polka dot. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter if the dog, what is that, a Jack Russell? It doesn't matter if it's a Jack Russell. Why does that matter? Is a Jack Russell doesn't even exist, right? You're just trying to group it so I know what it is, and we gotta evolve out of this, people. We gotta evolve. We can do better than that. We can do better. We can do better than using 5 senses to drive everything in our damn life, especially we know the people who are using those 5 senses are trying to control us. Still on the south side of the border, fascist book. Not something for me at the moment. Oh, it doesn't work for you. That's Patricia. Yeah, she got to go beneath the border every day, and borders shouldn't exist. Why do borders exist? Because people sniff people's butts. Okay. But somebody came to me like last year and said, well, you don't believe in borders, then you should let people walk on your property. It's like, you don't understand what we're saying when we say borders shouldn't exist. First of all, it's a survival. First of all, where do borders come from? Borders came from kings, psychopath killers, rapers, and pedophiles that came to a land, murdered everybody, raped everybody, drew a circle around it on a map and said, this is mine. Why in the hell would you still embrace that today? What about a psychopath, raper, killer, genocider that you actually want to keep alive, right? You say, well, it's not about him. It's about, this is our country. First of all, it ain't your country. 1913 fixed that, all right? 1933 fixed that. They suspended the Constitution, and the international billionaires bought your country. So it's not your country. It's not your border. Okay, nothing there is for you. And if you want any evidence of that, drive across the country, look at all the starving people in this country, why they send billions of dollars overseas to their friends in other nations, okay? For other billionaires' projects. It's not your country, you're being starved and looted. So you can stop fighting about the border. But they're still about butt sniffing, right? We're Americans, they're Mexican. Okay, so you sniff their butt to determine, you use your wild survival skill to judge and classify them, so you don't want them in your country. Meanwhile, they're your relative. They're a cousin of yours. They're looking for food because you destroyed their nation with the war on drugs. And you stole the resources. You corrupted their government. Used the CIA to murder and kill anybody down there that actually was creating a stable environment for children to grow up in. And you're upset with them. You don't want them running into your country. right? That's butt sniffing. It's all anus sniffing. So I know it doesn't matter what side you're on. If you're on the side, you're sniffing someone's butt to determine something about them, and that's racism. It's butt, no, I guess not racism. It's like raceology. I don't know. We need a word. Somebody give me, one of y'all intelligent people give me a word. It's anusology, anusism, right? Because that's what it is. The monkeys did it too. It wasn't just the dog. The monkeys sniff each other's butts to determine where the food is. All right. My youngest didn't think she was my biological daughter and didn't tell me till she was in adolescence. Darn it. F Florida. She looks just like me with more melanin. Oh, okay. All right, Miss Tree. You know what? I was watching Miss Tree. You remind me of something. I'm watching Queen Sugar. I'm not done with it. Y'all should watch Queen Sugar. It's not on Netflix. It's on Hulu. Great show. Great show. Great show. And there's a part in the show where Ralph Angel found, I'm a spoiler. Well, Ralph Angel, all right, somebody found out that the kid that they were raising wasn't theirs. And he got upset. I'm watching the show, Miss Tree, and I'm sitting there like, why does that matter? Why does it matter if you're the biological parent? What significance is that? If we all share biology, we're all related, we all share the DNA, what does it matter? We're all family, right? You have a child, you're a stepfather or stepmother, it doesn't matter. It means nothing whether you're the biological parent or not. As a kid, does it matter? You know, when I think about it like this, and see, I'm 45, 46, 47, I don't know how old I am, 43, something like that. I don't even like age. Age is a butt sniffing thing too. Do I care who my parents were? If they were my biological parents, I don't give two damns. It doesn't mean nothing to me. It means absolutely nothing to me. Those people loved me. Those people took care of me. They put food in my belly and gave me all kind of privilege. So now I can do this today. I got an internet and laptop. Like I said, we need to save the world today. We need to look out for everything. It doesn't matter to, see, to me, biological is a butt sniff, right? Biological parenting is an attempt to butt, because if you're mine, I'm gonna love you more than someone else. If you're my parent, then we have a tighter connection than with anyone else. And I don't believe any of that's true. We're all one, we're all connected. Right? See, if we can view the kids in Yemen as our children too, then we know when somebody wants to get together and go bomb them, we're not going to vote. We're not going to vote. If there's a system that requires that you murder people for the system to keep its GDP to stay in place, and you think your kid is in that country, would you bomb it? Would you vote for Democrats or Republicans or Green Party or anybody else who are in a system that requires the dropping of bombs and starving of children, and you know your baby's in that country? You wouldn't, would you? If you knew your cousin was there, would you? No, you wouldn't. And this is the whole purpose of butt sniffing, because you can get people to turn their backs completely on other people that they're related to. It's a great point. It's a great point. Lead, follow, or get out the way, but they won't let us lead. Yeah, Lori. So I mean, I used to say that. I don't believe in leaders anymore. I don't believe in leaders, Lori. Like, I don't want to lead you. I don't want to lead anybody. Lori, the biggest problem I have is I was raised to be indoctrinated like you, like everybody else. And I'm afraid that my mind is still locked up in some of that indoctrination, right? And this is why I try to travel with as many as you as I can. And I do this as a group in a hive mind, and everybody's welcome, because somebody else might see that in me. Like, I can't see my own mental illness. When I look in the mirror, Lori, I only see. I look in the mirror like I'm a good person. I'm doing good things. I see what everybody else sees. But in reality, there is a lot of that encoding that's still within me, because I was a kid of the 70s, right? I was a kid of the 80s. I was indoctrinated and brainwashed by TV and everything else. So I don't want to lead anybody. And I damn sure ain't gonna follow nobody. So Lori, this is what I do in that example. I just get out the way. I'm out the way, Lori. I just sit back and I'm just watching. I had nothing to do. I'm watching everybody sniffing each other's butts, and they're getting ready to go fight and drop some bombs and vote and go to church and whatever they're gonna do and fight this other church. And I see a bunch of dogs just sniffing each other for the show. This is a good one right here. I like this one. I just see a bunch of dogs sniffing each other for the show. Like, we got the show coming. It's entertaining. I get out the way. I just get out the way. I don't think that anybody is smart enough to lead anybody. I think we're all just sensors on this organism called humanity. We all got input, we all got experiences, but nobody should lead anything. right? It's all a show. it's literally all a dog show. You know what I mean? Assange tried. Yeah, he did, Lori. He tried, but I think they got to him. Like, the CIA has no interest in anybody. They either kill you, give you foot cancer like they did Bob Marley and killed Peter Tosh, but they tried to shoot Bob Marley first, you know, because they need the conflict. The CIA is an organization based in conflict. A lot of good people in CIA, but the reality is at the top, you know, they're a part of the control structure, right? Anything that's leading is going to become corrupt. Anything that's successful is going to become corrupt. Anyone who has a big voice shouldn't take any extremes. Should not take any extreme stances. Like, I was listening to Sadhguru this morning. I think I posted, it was a great talk. He was at Harvard, I think he was at Harvard University or something. I posted on my other page, but he said the reason that I vote and don't tell anybody who I'm voting for is because he said I have too big of a voice, right? Now, keep in mind, he's in India. He's not voting in America. So India has a different system. I don't know anything about their system and how it works. I know that here it's an oligarchy and voting doesn't work. Voting just is consent to support the system of oligarchy getting stronger, giving them limitless power to kill all us, okay? He says, but I don't tell anybody who I vote for. Like he says, the basic concept of secret ballot was so that if you have too much influence, you don't influence other people. Right? He said it's called. He said if when I vote, I tell other people who I'm voting for. That's feudalism. He said that's what America has. He put us out there. I know he butt sniffed us. He put us out there. He said that's what America has. They have a feudalism because they have a Hollywood. They have entertainers. They tell people who to vote for, and people vote for them. That's feudalism, right? You got these families that are in control. It's not like they're really even hidden anymore. You think Michelle Obama can't be the next president? Of course, well, she can't be the next one. It's still Trump's turn. But you don't think then Trump's son could be? Bush did, and his son did. Clinton did, and the other Clinton almost made it in, right? Because it's feudalism. When powerful people, when you have a voice, you're not supposed to take any extreme stances. That's why everybody who has a big voice, they all take extreme stances. You see how that works? When you got a big voice, you feel more responsible. It means you can't take a stance that's based in your indoctrination. You have to sense everybody. This is why you can't turn me against the white nationalists and the skinheads or the white people or the Republicans or the Democrats or the black people or the Mexicans or the immigrants or the Yemen or the Palestinians or the Israelis. You can't turn me against anybody because I'm too fearful. I don't know how I don't have a big voice. I got a moderate voice, but I don't want a big voice. Number one, that's when they kill you. And number two, I'm not gonna sell anybody out. Like, why would I sell anybody out? Like, I've seen enough that I realize that anybody that has anything to say that people will listen to, you need to be very careful of what you say. You need to be very careful that the things you say are correct. And there's nothing scarier than to say something that puts someone else in a horrible predicament because you think you're right. I ain't right. I know I ain't right. I ain't right, but my teacher told me that. They tried to put me on a short bus. I told you about that one. I ain't right in the head. I already know I ain't right. My mama stopped them. They put me as, they had me on the short bus. I ain't gonna tell that story. The teachers said, hey, you need to be on the short bus. I don't want to be on the short bus. My mama didn't make me go. Stop sniffing butts, people. Stop sniffing butts. Stop sniffing butts. That's what identity's for. It's all malware. All right, let me get some comments. Let me see. The facades and the lies pay more than truths. Absolutely. God's name, I am. Yes, Gabriel, and that's what he said. I am. I am. And why would God say that? I am. Right, Brother Jack. Why would God say I am? Because God didn't want to be in any of your subhuman groupings. God ain't human. I don't think. God didn't want to be blue. God ain't black. God ain't biological. God ain't human. God is whatever that is. Whatever that is. I ain't talking about the little g gods that y'all worship. I'm talking about the big G God. God is just God. Like, if God was a thing, how can you even classify it? How can the three letters even encompass what that thing is? None of it makes any sense. It's just too big for us. Our little brains are finite. That thing is infinite. We don't know what the hell it is. And look at most of the conflicts around the planet. What are they about? This thing that nobody understands. This thing that didn't even want to tell you his name. I ain't want to tell you my name. I ain't going to tell you my name. I ain't going to tell you my name. What's your name? I ain't going to tell you what are you? I ain't going to tell you what I am. Because if I even tell you what I am, you wouldn't understand it anyway. Something to think about. All right, just I am, and that's all I am. We don't know what 93% of our DNA sequence is for. We have no idea, Ivana, right? And they call it junk DNA. This is why I call these people morons. That's why I call them morons. Like, you actually think that we have evolved DNA that's junk? No, not in plants. There's no junk DNA. They all got genes that they'll turn back on when they need to. It's like women. Like, you abuse a woman, she's got the warrior genes. They all got them. They all got them. You abusing her, you beating her, calling her names, not taking her out to dinner and lunch, buying her roses. Them warrior genes gonna kick in. They gonna kick in. You know, it's not junk DNA. It's a survival skill. And the next time you raise your hand to her, your hand might land on a knife. you just might end up on that show. What's the name of that show? Where the women, they're abused and that warrior gene kicks in and they show the men that this ain't junk DNA. That I will flip when I think it's called Flip, something like that. They got a show that just shows you that there's no such thing as junk DNA. I think a lot of it is turned off, which is why we got to work on turning it back on. We got to work on turning it back on. Just be you. Absolutely, Lord. Just be you. Of course, borders should exist. How else are other countries supposed to protect themselves from our global military? Well, right, Ty. Well, they should have borders. I think maybe those who don't have like massive death killer weather weapons that like starve Iran of water since the last 50 years, they probably need, but they need protection from us. But we don't need protection from anybody. That's why I think we can lead the way, Ty. You know what I mean? I think we can lead the way. We robbed the whole world, looted everybody, stole everything from everybody, hid all the archaeology, stole all the UFOs and everything else. I think at this time, we need to step up and do the right thing. We need to just take the borders down. Just take them down. Besides, the borders ain't to keep the immigrants out, it's actually to keep you in. That's what it is. I'm telling you, it's to keep you in. You don't understand how these 100 families work. They're not gonna let you out. They're looting your country. 98% of the value has been taken away since 1913. America's about to be dropped into third world status. And when that happens, they don't want you getting out. They don't want you going nowhere. They need you to stay right there. There's going to be 5G fences all around the United States. We're going to keep you dumb monkeys in there and y'all figure it out yourself. You know, same way they do in New York City. New York City, you got to have money to get in and out of that damn city. I don't like going to New York City. I can't afford it. It's like $20 to get in and out of New York. You got all of these fences. Define borders. A house has borders. Exactly, Ty. A house has borders. And that's what the lady told me. She's like, well, would you open your borders and let people in? Person number one, lady, kids walk through my yard all the damn time. Okay. Do I like it? No. Do I get a buckshot shotgun to stop them? No. Do I get a BB gun? No. Do I spray them with the hose? No. I'm just like, hey, Tyrone, hey, dude, listen, man, look, check this out. This is my rose garden, right? This is where I grow my roses. This is where I got my flowers. If you're going to walk through the property, the land, walk on the grass. Walk on the grass. You can walk on it. Just don't walk, just don't walk in my garden. That's my only issue because I got to feed myself and feed other people with it. I have no issue with people walking on my land because it's not my land. I don't really believe in ownership. I think it's stupid. I think that ownership doesn't fit on a planet where you have babies being born into debt. I don't think ownership should exist. And if you can't take it with you, then what's the point? If you can't take it with you, then you're obviously not here to own things. You're here to make things better, perhaps share things, perhaps make it a better world or something. And you can't do that if you own things. Like think about the whole crony capitalist system and how it's pretty much taken self out of us. Our whole lives, it's like what the sister said earlier. You ask somebody, what do they do? What do you do for a living? How many people respond, I live, I try to make the world a better place. I try to share with people. I try to help people. I try to do that. They don't. They respond with their slave job. They respond with what they do to collect things, to own things. I'm a doctor. I'm a lawyer. I'm an accountant. I work at the greeter at the Walmart, right? All the things that you do that take away your sense of self. People with no sense of self are slaves. A person who doesn't stand for anything will fall for everything. And divided people who stand for everything We'll never change it. Think about that for a little bit. That's what identity is for. Identity is simply to control you. It's simply to, it's taking our evolved ways and using them against us so we have no sense of self. It's using that against us. And that's why when you watch the news, the headlines, oh, I get pop-ups all day long. I've never even asked for these daggone pop-ups. I don't even know why I get them. But all day long I get these pop-ups and they're like, oh, Trump this and Trump that, impeach this and impeach that. And it's all just, it's letting you know, it's presenting an anus for you. That's what it's doing. Like if you really think like that, the headline of every news article, they want you to read it because they make money when you read it, right? And how do they get you to read it? They say something that they present an anus to you. And either you agree with it or you don't. You sniffed it and they're within your group or they're not. As disgusting as that is, it's reality. It's a sick reality of a wild beast. We're not wild beast anymore. All right, what we got? Turkey strikes Kurds in Syria amid U.S. withdrawals. Yeah, you know what? Somebody posted on this the other day. What is this people who are trying to fight withdrawal? They want to stay in Syria. I got 2 cents for that. If you believe in war and you're mad at it because it's Trump doing it, because you sniffed the anus and said, that's Trump. I don't like it. I don't know whatever he's doing. I just don't like it because I smell like steaks and shrimps and, and I smell mayonnaise, right? So war is bad. Conflict is bad. It doesn't matter with who's stopping the war. If you're bringing the troops home, you should bring the troops home. Shut the hell up. We love you to death. But if you want to stay and fighting the war in Syria, you believe the news that is helping people to bomb people, then you need to sign up and you need to go over there. You need to ignore the 22 veterans, the kids, because most of them are kids, that are committing suicide every single day. The sign that your Pentagon has been outsourced and sold out to international billionaires for projects for greed and big corporations is when your troops start committing suicides because they have no idea how else to control their lives. They sign their life away. Why do you think they call it signing up for the military? Because you sign your life away. They think they're defending their country, but instead treasonously, because they suspended the Constitution, they can use the Pentagon and all the soldiers to go fight for the billionaires' corporations, Chiquita Bananas plantations and the Rockefellers and oil companies and all of the nonsense. The hell yeah, the troops need to come home. They absolutely need to come home. But I don't trust it now. I don't trust it. I don't trust it. I don't think that the oligarchy's bringing the troops home, but I'll take a peek at it. Turkey invades Syria, Kurds doomed, ? I don't know what's going on with that. What I know
is now effectively allowing a Turkish.
Wait. I know this. I take the same stance here I do with Israel and Palestine, right? We're all born in a broken world. We need to look at things from a human perspective, right? There are kids born in Israel, they ain't got nothing to do with this, and they might be Jewish. There's Palestinians born, they ain't got nothing to do with this, and they're Muslim or Christian or whatever else they are. Don't pick a side. We have the resources to solve our problems. We don't have to pick a side. We have robots and automation. We can feed everybody, make everybody comfortable. We got enough land for everybody. The world is not overpopulated. That's fake news. There's too many of us. I agree with that, but we're not overpopulated. There's too many of us based in the model of conflict, based in the model of cheering racism and sniffing butts and cheering races and identities. There's not enough land for that because they use that to divide everybody up so 100 families can own every damn thing. Then yeah, sure, there's too many of us. We need to stop having less kids because the vast majority of people are still voting and cheering to keep this system going. So yeah, there's not enough land for us and the monkeys and the bears and the chipmunks and everything else because the people who own every damn thing, they don't like to share. And you vote for them because you're scared of the other people because you sniff their butt cheeks. All right, here we go. Let's look and see what's happening.
Troops to move into the northeastern Kurdish-controlled region of the country by withdrawing our own troops. Now, the White House made the announcement late Sunday evening, preparing the way for a Turkish offensive, possibly. Now, there have only been about 1,000 U.S. troops operating in the area, but their withdrawal all but gives Turkey free reign in an area controlled by the Kurds. Now, these are Turkey's longtime rival. So for more on what this will mean for the region and here in the United States, we're joined by former Naval Intelligence Officer John Jordan. John, when this happened yesterday, I immediately realized that I wanted to have you on to talk about this because it is a complex issue, but it's been up to debate. So just simply, if America had kept troops in northern Syria, would that have kept Turkey from going in, or is this something the Turks would have done anyways, and thus it's best to get our troops out of the crossfire?
Well, the Turks were going to do this anyway. There's a political and economic imperative. We only had 1,000 troops there, and that's not really a militarily viable number. That's there for advisors and so forth. The Kurds had fought alongside us for a long time in Iraq. The YPG Kurds are different from the PKK Kurds. The PKK Kurds is a group inside of Kurdistan and Turkey that the Turkish government regards as terrorists, and so do we. The YPG is a Kurdish group that the Turkish government regards as terrorists, but we regard as an ally. Basically, the Turks are going to push into Syria to create a 30-kilometer buffer zone. Most people don't realize this, but America's real leverage over Turkey here is economic. The Turkish economy has 14% unemployment. It's going to contract by 2.5% in their GDP per the International Monetary Fund this year. And they're subject to sanctions under CATSA because of their purchase of the S-400 missile system. So I suspect that there's a lot of face saving behind the scenes here. Turkey will move forward and will build that buffer zone, and will move some of the 3+ million Syrian refugees out of Turkey and resettle them back into Syria. But both sides need to save some face here, and the United States will threaten economic sanctions under CATSA, and the Turks will agree to perhaps take it easy on some of the Kurds who are friendly to the United States. But we'll see.
Well, that's interesting, and I'm glad that you brought that up because President Trump said he will destroy Turkey's economy if they do something very aggressive that he doesn't like. So do you think that fear is enough to keep them, as you said, just kind of doing this little minor move, or do you think they're going to go full out blown regardless of what the United States might or might not do economically?
The Turkish economy historically, Scotty, has been very, very vulnerable to sanctions. It's in a very, very precarious spot right now. It's the weakest in the region by far. Not only do they have the numbers we just talked about, those struggles, they have the largest number of refugees of any country right now, and nearly 4 million Syrians. The Turks want to resettle about 2 million back into Syria. Threats by the United States on sanctions would be politically very easy for the United States and President Trump to do, especially in light of the S-400 under CATSA and a variety of other regimes possible.
Okay, so I'm kind of done with that. That's all the patience I got. I don't like non-solutions. I like solve root cause problems. And so if the root problem is the people in Turkey want to be free and safe, guess what? Make them free and safe. Make it free and safe. Everybody wants to be left alone. It's the governments that want to do things with borders. Borders are for governments. They're for kings and lords and wealthy families. They have nothing to do with you. So pulling out, number one, you should, if you've got military, if you've got men or women with guns and tanks and bombs in somebody else's country, you're a terrorist, right? You're an invader. You are engaging in country rape, land rape, whatever you want to call it. You're violating someone else. So no, they should not be there at all. But is the answer to pull out and do nothing? No. Like, we can solve the world's problems, we're just choosing not to, right? Everybody in Turkey, they want what everybody in America wants. They want everybody in everywhere wants. They want to be left alone. They want food, house, and freedom to discover consciousness and spend time in the six senses, not the five. They don't want conflict. But everything that's going to come out of the American government is conflict. That's why you got everybody sniffing anuses and everyone's in one side or another, and they always pick teams because they want to keep conflict alive. They're literally not letting people get out of their wild. That's why our industry is destabilization. We make money on creating conflicts. We make money on destroying safety. We make money on fear. So whether it's the left or the right, it doesn't really matter. Their answer is always going to be conflict. It's not take care of anybody and solve any real problems. It's going to be just keep it going. So that's why they'll pull the troops out and engage in economic warfare, or keep the troops in and engage in physical warfare. It all ends in economic war. It all ends in people dying. Because that's the cult. That's what they believe in. That's the whole pack mentality. We live, you die. That's why I'm saying Christ is my teacher. I'm not Christian. Because I don't know what Christian is. Most Christians are behind this. And you're behind this, then you're not really paying attention to what Christ said. Jesus said the kingdom of God is not a place, it is inside you and around you. Book of Thomas, right, Susan? But it wasn't in the official book, okay? I'm about to be facetious here. It wasn't in the official book that the King James, the raper and the killer and colonizer, he didn't put it in his book. So the Book of Thomas, right, that's one of the Gnostic texts. That's what Susan's talking about. It's a Gnostic text. It's telling you that God is inside. It's telling you that you can't kill other people because God is in them. It's telling you got to feed other people when they're hungry because God is in them. It's telling you that you can't go and invade Syria and put women in cages and kids on top of buildings from the terrorists that you help because God is in them. It says that you can't build a border around your nation because people need to come in and get some food. They need some freedom and safety because God is in them. And that's why they took the Book of Thomas out, right? Because you had to get rid of the Gnostic text. In order for the kings to have kingdoms, dummy, they had to remove the things that would give you love and respect for other people. They had to remove the things that would make you think that children are the only innocent things on this planet. Oh, damn, it's Ty here. There we go. We're going to hear from Ty. Fine, Hunter. Don't give me a Hunter on you. But children are innocent. And the only innocent thing on this planet. But you can get a bunch of Christians, Muslims, blacks, whites, Americans, all to turn against children and be okay with bombing them and stealing resources from their land if you think they're subhuman. If you're in a group, if you sniff their anus and you realize, oh, that's just real Epstein Island, isn't it? But if you don't look at them as human because you're in a subhuman group and they're in a subhuman group, you're in a pack and they're in a pack, then you can turn them. We are citizens of the world. We belong to no country. That's it, Matthew. Well, some of us are. I know I am. I don't belong to none of y'all. Hashtag, I don't belong none y'all. None ya. None ya. What group are you in? None ya. That's what we need. We need on these little surveys, these little multiple choice things. What race are you? None ya. I don't even know. You can't classify me. I ain't none your colors. I ain't none your races. None. Until it's time to do something significant. The only time I'm an American is when it's time to feed people. I'm an American when it's time to help people. I'm an American when it's time to keep nations safe and let them actually choose what they want in their own nation. I'm an American when it comes to we'll use automation and robots to build houses for everybody and give them food so they won't be in conflict, so they'll stop raping entire towns of women. That's when I'm an American. I use it, damn right. I use my fake identity. I use my fake identity. Let you sniff my butt. Look, see? Check it. See that? Look at that. I'm American. That's the only time I use it when I'm trying to convince people this is who I am. Listen, we need to work together on this thing. We need to feed people. You know, kind of lift a leg up. Because some dogs do that. That's why dogs are patient. That's why dogs are patient. They'll let you sniff their butt. You ever try to sniff a dog's butt? The dog will let you. They'll let you. Like, look, hey, look, I'm in your pack. I live here. I sleep here every night. My bed is right over there. That's my bone. And you're supposed to get my water and clean up my poo. Look, they sniff my butt. That's the only time I engage the identity, when it's time to help people. Short of that, I'm a member of the human race, and I'm never going to join your subgroups. What else we got? Anything important? Hong Kong protesters deny free speech. Well, did we do that yesterday? 13 hours ago? No, I guess they're still denying free speech, right? Because when you deny people free speech, then they can't talk about anything important. That's why you shouldn't trust the news, whether in Japan, here, China, America, Russia, anywhere. Don't ever trust the news. It's all run by the same families. They control the planet. It's their planet. And the only way we get it back is when we stop fighting with each other. As long as we're going to divide up against each other, sniff each other's anuses, be in different packs, they will rule the world till they kill all us, period. BBC slammed for Trump comments. Well, once again, it's the same thing, butt sniff, presenting the anus, right? So if you want to see the BBC slam for somebody who made some comments that has nothing to do with what happens on a world scale, a big club that he's not in, and you feel that impeaching him is important, you want to get into tribal fights, start sniffing butts and have some pack fights, and you'll click on it. I'm not going to click on it. I don't have time. I got to propagate some bonsai, so I don't have time for world conflict. I don't have time for anybody's conflict. I don't have time for your nonsense. You spend time with the other children. Y'all go get together, go argue, do some impeachments and stuff, and see if that helps anything. They've been doing that since the beginning of time. Let me know when it works. Dangers. Well, dating apps, sex assaults on the rise. Of course, because sex assault is supposed to be on the rise because your government doesn't care. They're funneling weapons around the world. They're using all this high technology for greed and power and big corporations and monitor you, censor you, make sure you can't find anything about geoengineering, make sure you can't find anything about JFK speech, make sure you can't find anything about consciousness, evolving, becoming a human being, getting out of your tribal monkey ways. and ignoring what's happening on the dating apps, right? Rape only exists because the U.S. government still wants it to. That's all. It scares you. It's like anything else. It scares. It's like debt. You know, why is there a middle class? Because they don't want to be the lower class. Why is there a lower class? Because they don't want to be the underclass. Why is there an upper class? Because they don't want to be the middle class. They look how you live and they don't want to be you. Like the elites above the upper class. Why is there an elite? Because they got their boots on the upper class. They got their boots on the neck of somebody else. That's how slavery works. It's like this multiple tiered system that keeps everything in place. And as long as you're scared of something, they can control your behavior. So you're scared. You don't want to be the dirty people beneath you whose boot at your neck, that you got your boot on their neck. Right? So they scare you, right? You're not gonna like this, but this is real. Rape is a tool, okay? Sexual assault is a tool, not just in the warlords that the Pentagon is funding and arming in Africa to scare entire towns of women to get 14-year-olds to rape them with your weapons, the ones that you're trying to take from the other people in your country, deny their Second Amendment, trying to get the biggest weapons trafficker, the biggest lover and believer in rape on the planet, and you want them to go around and take the guns from the people in your country. You really need to rethink that. I mean, somebody's upset. I like the angry faces. That's how we know we're learning. So yeah, it's a tool. Fear is a tool. Fear is a tool that they've used since the beginning of time. If they can scare you, you will give your rights up. See, I didn't click on it, but I know if I click on it, it has something to do with some legislation that somebody has to take rights from somebody else to blame other poor people for a system that they profit from by keeping these ills alive. Turkey to invade North Syria as Trump pulls out. Okay, so I guess everybody's talking about that. I think I love the angry faces. Yeah, so it's still, once again, butt sniff. Let me see. Border agent makes journo admit he writes propaganda. Journal, what the hell is journal? I don't know what journal is. Y'all make up all these words. It's not in the dictionary. It's not approved by the king. Border agent makes journo. Oh, journal's a person. Admit he writes propaganda before giving passport back. Border shouldn't exist. So, people sniff the anus, they get in the argument. Chuck Todd goes off the rails. I don't know who Chuck Todd is. Y'all want to watch that? Media Watch. That could be interesting. Who the hell's Chuck Todd? I don't know no Chuck Todd.
Now, if you were watching any of the news shows over the weekend, you may have noticed that host and guest alike seem to have determined that Donald Trump is guilty. And something needs to be done about it. Well, RT Steve Malzberg was
How do you know? Sniff his butt. Come on, he's got white skin. He's a Republican. He's got to be guilty. He's guilty of something. Just blame. I don't know, blame something. But once again, this is how it works.
Part of his TV set this weekend, and he joins us. And I believe you are going to start with Meet the Press.
Yeah, Scotty. On Friday, host Chuck Todd claimed that we're in the middle of a national nightmare. He repeated that on Sunday's show at the beginning, and then he had it out with Republican Senator Ron Johnson.
Good Sunday morning. I made the point earlier this week that a national nightmare is upon us. It's not something I said lightly or say it now. But the stability of our democracy is at stake. It's a moment.
Question, what is the nightmare? Okay, here's the time, because I know they ain't gonna say what he already started with democracy. That is not the nightmare. We got some nightmares. It ain't about anything in government. It's about what the government never talks about. All right? We got some real nightmares, and ain't anything about to come out of his mouth. You ask these people, want to know what the nightmares are? Ask these people right here. These people, some of them, see, I sleep well at night. But the nights that keep me up, it's not Trump, it's not the Republicans, it's not Syria, it's not Yemen, it's not no terrorism, poor farmers that y'all taking land from because you want to put up oil derricks, okay? You want to know the real nightmares? They're never on television, okay? Ask these people what their nightmares are. They talk about chemtrails and glyphosate and poisoning and disease and water and no organic food and lying grocery stores and false labels and people dying and people living in caves under New York City and people having to walk and step over poo piles in San Francisco. You ask them about what the nightmares are, and it's going to be all of that. It's not democracy. It's not a democracy. First of all, democracy is mob rule, and the mob ain't ruling. The mob is literally sniffing each other's anuses and joining teams and fighting and ripping each other's fur off. That's all they're doing, and they don't get nothing from it. All the food, all the chicken, all the scraps, they don't even get. The elite keep them on their table. So, but he's going to tell us. I don't know who Chuck Todd is, but let's see what he got to say.
That so many people, including Donald Trump's Republican primary opponents, predicted what happened, and now it's upon us.
Exactly why President Trump is upset. and why his supporters are upset at the news media.
Okay, this is not about the media. Senator Johnson, Senator Johnson, please. Can we please answer the question that I asked you instead of trying to make Donald Trump feel better here that you're not criticizing him?
All right, so we have Chuck Todd going off the rails. Shift to CNN's reliable sources, where CNN senior media reporter Oliver Darcy went right after Fox CEO Lakeland Murdoch for airing what Darcy calls conspiracy theories.
You just played that clip where people were talking about coups and civil wars. It's really disturbing stuff. And I actually kind of wonder, Lakeland Murdoch, the head of Fox, how does he really look at himself in the mirror every morning knowing that that poison is his contribution to society? I honestly...
Well, I don't know who he is, but if he's hype in the media, it's because he's got a BMW and Benz in the house. He got the sexy woman and got the kids that are just drugged out their minds, but they got big rooms with lots of toys and they're going to great Ivy League schools. That's how he does it. Whoever he is, that's how he does it. He does it because he's got a lot of toys. He's got a lot of shiny things that he can't take with him. That's how he does it.
Honestly, I can't understand how he does it.
All right, now what this is all about, Scotty, are the new left-wing talking points. Really, it's fascism. They say the Trump side should not get airtime. Listen to E.J. Dionne of the Washington Post and Shauna Thomas of Vice News on...
Of course they shouldn't get airtime. You didn't hear me the first time? They got white skin. Come on, you're not supposed to... They're supposed to have, what do they call it? They call it white guilt. You're supposed to be guilty. I know, did y'all invite the blacks? I'm gonna get in trouble. You're supposed to be guilty. If you look in the mirror, you look at your skin, it doesn't fit the skin of what's supposed to be popular at the time, you're supposed to take your white fragility, your skin fragility, and even though you ain't got nothing to do with none of this damn stuff, you're born like trying to live life. You're supposed to take that, you're not supposed to say anything. You're supposed to be censored. You're not supposed to say anything if you're on the right. Only the left can talk, Does the right say that? I guess the right kind of does that too. They try to censor too. They're not as heavy as the left nowadays. But this is what I'm saying. This is why I agree with what Angela was saying earlier. Lead, follow, and get the hell out the way. And I'm getting the hell out the way because I think what y'all got is infectious. I don't want none of that. I don't want the blue bumps. I don't know if they make a pill for what make people want to sniff each other.
MSNBC's Joy Reid Show.
But truth cannot be given the same level of coverage as falsehood. We shouldn't make them equivalent. And there are moments in politics when one party has an interest in the truth and the other party has an interest in falsehood. President Trump lies. It's not partisan for the media to be partisan toward the truth, but it can look like that if one side of the argument, as President Trump has shown, needs to tell lie after lie after lie.
But I think it's worth reiterating, objectivity does not mean both sidesism.
Right. We don't need both sides. Now, Scotty, this goes along with the Biden camp urging networks not to allow...
I can't do it anymore. I'm tired. I'm sorry. I can't. I watch the entertainment. I got enough of it. Bottom line is everybody speaks. And yes, objectivity means you need to speak that. You need to listen to everybody. You need to listen to all sides because the left says just enough to get enough following. They lie about enough to keep them in. The right says just enough truthful things to get a following, but lie just enough to keep everybody in. It's a butt sniff contest. You can watch the whole thing. I can't watch the whole thing, y'all. I don't really have time. I really don't care. I don't care. Like, I'll go to the dog park and I watch all the dogs do this and I just like, there's a dog, it's a German Shepherd, Chihuahua, and it goes a poodle and watch them sniff butts, play with the ball, whatever, and they think they control the world. Like, how you ever think about how a dog thinks the whole world is like the dog park? The whole world is their house in the dog park. That's really what politics is. That's kind of what it is. That's why I don't have any interest in it. All right, so I can't do that. I did enough of it. I got real things to think about. I have important things and important issues like tomatoes and basil. It's getting cold outside. I got propagations to do. I got a Chinese princess, which is a bonsai I need to repot. It's more important than everything they got to say. Everything. Because they're not talking solutions, right? They say just enough truth to destroy the planet. That's really what it comes down to. They say just enough truth to get as much campaign contributions and bribes to get a great retirement, to get all those shiny things, so they can sleep at night. So they get older and they can't sleep at night. Oh, they just stay psychopaths and they die, but either way, they don't take none of it with them. And so, I have no interest in the system. All right, How can the Turks enter a sovereign country without it causing an international outrage? What's definitely going to cause that outrage, Ivana? But Turkey doesn't exist, right? Like, this is where I get down. I don't believe in systems. I believe in human beings and biological creatures. So somebody believe in Turkey. Somebody hungry. It's not Thanksgiving yet. Sit down. Shut up. I don't believe in them. Like, people are sovereign. I think babies are sovereign. Kids are sovereign. Human beings are sovereign. Dogs are even sovereign. Monkeys are sovereign. You know, leave them alone for the most part. But systems are not sovereign. Countries are not sovereign. They are fantasy constructs that keep people in conflict because we're still very tribal minded. So I don't believe in nations. Nobody can violate anybody else, right? Now, I agree with what you're saying. The concept is spot on, right? You can't send the military into somebody else's land. They're cultivating that land. I don't say they own it. I don't want to believe in borders, but they're doing something on that land that's feeding people and helping the biological things that are here, the creatures. They're doing something sentient. You can't go and do something unsentient. Christ don't like that. Buddha don't like it. You know, natural mother, who's y'all like my atheists, which y'all like, Mother Nature, she don't like that neither. Or atheist agnostic, I don't know, they might get mad at me and say something. All of these labels. Y'all sick of these labels yet? Somebody gonna correct me. Watch. He's like, no, because you're just agnostic to God, or atheist is this, and Christian is that, and this is that, and black is this, and white is this, and American is this, and I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like, oh. When will the monkeys ever get up on the bananas? Who cares if we bring them home? You still have the CIA. Exactly. It doesn't really matter if they come home to that degree. I think it's a good gesture, but the reality is we don't control this. A cabal controls this. They don't give two damns what you think about the troops coming home. They're murdering somebody else somewhere else right now. They got the next invasion already paid for, planned out, that your kids are going to pay for and be enslaved to because it's already a done deal. Democrats and Republicans, a bipartisan thing. They're simply placating the public with another distraction. Gladio operation isn't going anywhere. Exactly, and this is all everything is like it's a distraction. You know, it's a show. If you can convince people that you're good and they see enough good in what you're doing, then yeah, they'll vote for you to go use that vote as manufactured consent to go bomb somebody else. War and international unrest to help Orange Man wag the dog. Absolutely. And when it's not the Orange Man, Lori, it'll be Oprah. And when it's not him, it's going to be, I don't know, Geraldo Rivera. And it's not him, they'll get Jesse Ventura in there. When it's not them, it'll be somebody else. Because it's a system. I like Jesse Ventura and I like a lot of what he says, but the reality simply is the system is based on domination and destruction. Bottom line, it's based in violence, abusing people for their evolved nuances, to gang up in gang mentality and say this street is mine and throw these up. That's all they doing. Y'all see the Crip dance? I don't see if I call it Crip dance. Y'all, it's a blood dance or Crip dance. I don't know what it's called. The kids, they throw up the gang signs. And that's all I see with politics. This is the whole political thing. Let me see. Let me see if I can find somebody doing the walk. See, this is what they do. This is them right here. I'm telling you, they think they're adults, but they're not. They do. This is them right there.
This for the West Coast CD.
Oh, I can't play the music though. I don't know what that is. This is one. They doing some Crip dancing or something. There they go. Is that it right there? There you go. There you go. That's the Democrats right there and the Republicans right there. They did. I can't play it. That's probably licensed something, whatever. But yeah, it's just this is what they do. They got gang mentality. They act like gangs. But the difference is when the kids do it, it's because they're born into it. They didn't have a choice. When the adults do it, it's because they're being abused by the media and it's tapping into their monkey genes and they can't seem to get away from it. All right. If we went to these countries to help, we'd send them Peace Corps, not military. Exactly, Susan. Bottom line. If we were sentient, if there was something worth voting for, we'd be sending them food and they would be turning against their government. And we'd be turning against ours because people who got food, water, safety, and freedom, they have no interest in someone leading and them following. Let me see. Turkey has been referred to, known as the eye of the needle. We'll screw them last after using them. Oh yeah, well we screw everybody. That's what we do. That's part of mistreat. That's part of what we do, right? We sniff the anus and find out later if we want to find out what team they're on. We abuse them, send them some weapons, whatever, pretending they're a friend. Somebody gets in control over there and they turn on us like Saddam Hussein to somebody else, and then we screw them. That's what we always do. We kill people remotely using drones with our video gamer troops. Yep. For another side of the world. Exactly, Ms. Tree. And that, it's violence. It's just conflict and violence. It's just insentient activity, immature behaviors, right? It's a drive-by shooting. It's a drive-by shooting where thousands of people die. At least drive-by shooters don't hit kids that often, right? The gangs, the Bloods, the Crips, the Triads, and the Skinheads, and they do drive-by shootings, but they actually they have smart bullets, right? They have smart aim. They're actually strategically trying to hit the other gang member whose butt they sniff. These political parties, they don't care. They bomb entire weddings. They're gonna make sure they don't care. All right, let me get the last couple comments so I can get out of here. Also, hell is a place you send yourself by not changing your behavior. Exactly, Ty, and this is what I believe. I think we're in hell right now. I think Earth is hell. I think we keep coming back to hell because we don't grow the hell up. I don't know nothing. They didn't change all the scriptures, flipped it, stripped it, rubbed it down, changed it, alter it by rapists, killers, and murderers. So I really don't even know what's true, but this feels like it. When I look around and I see what other people are living through, this is hell. It is absolutely hell. Let me see. Purebred dogs have the most diseases. Right. And so do purebred humans, Lori, is why I tell the interracial marriages, please breed us out of our misery so these people can stop sniffing. But then, you know what? Even the interracial folks, breed us out of this nonsense. People are still going to believe it. Humans will always find a reason to side up against someone else if they still got that active monkey DNA. They're still going to group up in some other way. I swear to God, this is hypnosis. Going to be a real interesting party later when somebody else says the trigger word, butt sniffing. Well, Patricia, it's actually kind of funny, but it's not funny. It's funny and it's not funny. It's just we got to evolve people, and I don't know how else to do it and make a few jokes here and there. Make people think about the ridiculousness of all of this. If they can think about how ridiculous it is and they realize that they're laughing at themselves, then they'll stop being these little tribal monkeys. Mostly because people think revenge is justice, hence impeachment. Right, Ty? Exactly. Thank you. Revenge and justice instead of solve the problem, instead of fix the problem. So we need to go, guy raped somebody. We need to go and put all the resources and to get him and put him in prison and feel good about ourselves. Instead of architecting a society where we don't raise men to rape women. That's where I think we got to evolve, y'all. We got to move forward. We got to grow up. We got to become better. We're not there yet. We got the whole world's family, 7 billion cousins all over the planet. Let's focus on that. This is Gerard. I got to get going. Y'all have a great day. I'm out of here. Bye-bye.